leaks indicate that The View is in the process of being canceled. Now, this comes on the heels of a lot of different problems with The View. They're constantly being criticized by folks like us, by independent media. I think some of them would have the audacity to refer to themselves as journalists, and that really says all that you need to know about.
A former producer has filed a shocking lawsuit exposing what they claim to be a toxic work environment behind the scenes. And Sunny Hostin is at the center of the storm. She is accused of playing a major role in the alleged turmoil, and the details emerging from this case are leaving fans stunned. The View was once the crown jewel of daytime talk shows, bringing together strong voices and fiery debates. But now the lawsuit is making headlines and could completely upend the show.
Has now become Sunny Legal Note Hostin, as she has been just spouting off lies and in some cases propaganda on her show and being corrected expeditiously, so much so that they are interrupted in the middle of the show and she has to share a legal note. Let's roll the clip.
How could you nominate someone with allegations of child trafficking across state lines and having sex with a 17-year-old? My understanding, further on in the interview, they discussed the fact that once he finds out that she's 17, he stops having sex with her.
Sunny, you have a legal note.
I do have a legal note. Thank you, Whoopi. Matt Gaetz has long denied all allegations, calling the claims, quote, invented, and saying in a statement to ABC News that this false smear following a 3-year criminal investigation should be viewed with great skepticism. That DOJ investigation was...
For those who were paying close attention, the tension was unavoidable. Some staffers noticed a growing discomfort among senior producers. Meetings were becoming more closed off, and last-minute changes were occurring. Before this legal drama exploded, some warning signs were already there, but no one was paying attention behind the scenes of The View. As the energy began to shift, conversations that once flowed freely turned into hushed whispers. Producers who were normally confident and in control now seemed on edge, avoiding certain discussions or tiptoeing around important figures on set. There were more segments than usual, but insiders later disclosed that these changes were made to avoid potential landmines rather than to improve the show's content. Rumors of a lawsuit began to circulate around the production office, but no one knew the specifics. Some believed it had to do with unfair treatment of staff, while some thought it was related to private disputes between some of the co-hosts. It was obvious that something significant was about to happen, and the majority of the cast continued as usual. Was one individual at the core of the quiet conjectures? Even with these early warning signs, nobody anticipated what would happen next, and then with one unfiltered comment, Sunny's host reportedly clashed with producers more than usual. Other insiders said she was becoming more vocal about certain issues, which made some higher-ups uncomfortable. Sunny is a hustler. Without realizing it, it sparked a chain reaction during a contentious conversation that began like any other but swiftly grew into something much more significant. The subject was already. However, what set this moment apart was Sunny's audacious claim about a specific individual, someone with genuine influence and a history of defending their reputation at all costs. Whether it was anger erupting or a strategic move, her words struck hard, and what made it even riskier was that the person she targeted wasn't just any public figure. They were someone with significant resources, deep connections, and a history of defending their name when their name was drawn into controversy. And by the time the camera stopped recording, the harm had already been done. The video went viral online, receiving equal parts praise and criticism, but the real situation was different. That instance had sparked a debate that was far more significant than a headline, and the fallout would soon become uncontrollable.
Pete Hegseth has denied any wrongdoing. His lawyer said he paid the woman in 2023 to head off the threat of a baseless lawsuit. No charges.
When the lawsuit was filed, everything changed. It wasn't just a slap on the wrist. It was a direct attack on the show's reputation and financial stability. At first, it seemed like just another controversy, with the internet ablaze with opinions and The View at the center of it all as usual. However, something much more serious was simmering behind the scenes. The plaintiff was a prominent individual with extensive industry connections who possessed the means and contacts to make this more than a PR nightmare. Legal filings stated that the accusations were surprising. In addition to being deemed defamatory, Sunny Hostin's remarks were allegedly purposefully damaging, according to the lawsuit, which also claimed that her remarks caused reputational damage, missed business opportunities, and even personal threats against the person in question. The lawsuit's financial claims were substantial, demanding millions in damages, forcing ABC to confront the problem head-on. Ed was trapped in a number of urgent meetings. Strategy meetings and crisis management legal teams were called in to evaluate the dangers as damage control took precedence. As much as ABC attempted to contain the fire, the reality was setting in. This wasn't just about one poor segment or one casual comment. This was a legal battle that could have long-term consequences for the network and Sunny herself. PR experts were rushing to craft statements, and the pressure was mounting on The View's production team to find a way to move forward without making things worse. The strained mood at The Viewpoint became intolerable. Sunny, who had always been a powerful presence on the show, began to show signs of the tremendous pressure she was under. On some days, she came in with her usual confidence, ready to take on the world, but on other days, she was noticeably quieter, her energy drained as the weight of the legal battle settled in on her co-hosts. Goldberg, who was known for her no-nonsense approach, seemed reluctant to engage in any conversations about the lawsuit. Joy Bear, who was usually quick with a joke or a sarcastic remark, wasn't as lighthearted in this case. The dynamic on set changed from a group of outspoken women bouncing off each other to a room full of people carefully choosing their words out of fear of what might happen next. Then came the financial blow. Advertisers began removing big brands that had previously considered The View as prime real estate for reaching daytime audiences and were now re-evaluating their partnerships because no company wanted to be involved in a lawsuit of this magnitude, especially when legal experts were arguing whether the case had merit for. This was the worst thing that could have happened, ABC. If sponsors kept dropping the show, its revenue would take a severe hit, its reputation would suffer, and if the lawsuit went on, its long-term future might be in jeopardy. At this point, the question wasn't just how they would handle the lawsuit, it was whether the show could survive it at all.
For many, many reasons, this is very different than any other situation.
When the court filings were made public, the media storm was unleashed. What had been a backstage problem for The View became front-page news, and the story spread like wildfire, dividing longtime viewers into opposing camps. Some were supporting Sunny Hostin, arguing that she was just exercising her right to free speech. Critics of the program jumped on the bandwagon right once, using this as an opportunity to attack her remarks, which some felt were reckless and damaging. ABC responded with a carefully worded statement acknowledging the legal situation and promising to handle it internally. But despite their best efforts, the speculation persisted because people wanted to know more about the true nature of the lawsuit and what this would mean for the show's future. Was the network's response sufficient to calm the growing unrest, or was this just the end of the opportunity to attack The View for everything they had ever disliked about the show? Its fiery debates, its bold takes on sensitive issues, and now its ability to weather legal storms. Onset of a far larger issue, the producers of the show couldn't even have a meeting without the prying eyes of reporters or photographers lurking outside the building. The studio was transformed into a circus with The View's co-hosts became unwilling tabloid stars, their every word and movement now being scrutinized by lawsuits. The paparazzi were relentless, their cameras following the show's co-hosts everywhere they went. The financial with a deteriorating reputation, is this the last season of fallout? Rumors about The View's future started to circulate as the lawsuit gained momentum and the media circus persisted. The show had been a mainstay of daytime television for years, but industry insiders were wondering if it could withstand this kind of scandal, or if the network could handle the pressure. Network executives were meeting behind closed doors to discuss the show's future because the situation was delicate, and many were unsure of the best course of action. The question was whether ABC should replace Sunny as the show's face of the controversy, preserve the show's reputation, or would they have to cancel it entirely to prevent more harm? Even though the drama was still going on, it was becoming obvious that there was no simple answer, and the stakes had never been higher for the network or the co-hosts. Another question was whether Sunny herself would take the fall, be forced to leave the show to save it, or if ABC would decide to support her. I have been a long-time viewer of The View, but to be honest, this lawsuit doesn't surprise me. You could sense the tension on set for a long time, someone commented. Another one was added. The show's entire purpose has always been to foster hot conversations. So the network's profiting from these contentious moments and then pulling away when things become dirty feels disingenuous. There will be a gap in daytime television that might never be filled if ABC decides to cancel the show. But what about Sunny Hostin? Will she be able to recover from this, or will the damage to her be irreversible? The fallout from the lawsuit, backstage conflicts, and public scrutiny has permanently changed the show's landscape. It already finished, but as we watch this situation play out, we'd like to know if Sunny was correct to voice her opinions, or if she went too far. Should the show be canceled, or is there a way for it to move on?